Hey Bruce, it's hard to believe it's been 11 years, over 11 years since we last sat across from chairs in an RG shop, a rebuilding generation shop. You sat with Kevin back then when he made the introduction.
Yeah.
What did you think when you first made that, how'd that happen?
Well, when Kevin approached me at Firebird at a swap meet, and him, and basically said, hey, we got this youth group and, we're looking for mentors, we're looking for sponsors, we're starting this group. And so the introduction was made, and I said, yeah, I'd like to be a part of that. And, and of course, Kevin was looking for some products that we sell at Modern Driveline. And so one thing led to another. We got involved with the very first project, which I think was a 71 Mustang convertible. It was just a little 302, 3-speed, basic car. And I came over, and it was there the very first meeting I think you had.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't even part of Rebuilding Generations then.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you introduced it to the Mustang Club, where I just happened to be attending and gotten roped into vice president at the time. And you said, "Hey, come look at this cool thing going on," and introduced Kevin. And I went over and looked. I said, "Oh my gosh, what am I doing here?" And then here I am, 11 years later.
Yeah. You got more involved than I have, and I had to take a kind of a hiatus because I was just so busy, and there were some changes going on. I had my own, family that I was dealing with, and of course, with a small business that's growing, it demands a lot of my time and attention. But there needs to be a rebalance, and that's kind of why I've gotten back into this group.
And that goes into the passion that I see that you've got with your business, the art that you put into the things that you build, and that you invent. You're beyond just an entrepreneur. You're an inventor of the things that you do, the awards you receive, and those are really important things. And the reasoning that you have in your mind and why you like pouring back into the younger generations. We work Rebuilding Generations. We work with kids as young as 7 now.
Yeah, that's
and it just kind of gets. You're letting a kid that's 7, 8 years old weld, and you get crazy looks. But yeah, because it's real, and we're a program that's about being real at every level, and we don't care whether you're 7 or 70. If you're willing to want to learn, we're willing to spend some time with you if you want to really learn. And so when we get sponsors like Modern Driveline with you, and how you're willing to invest back into the community as a whole, and what it represents, that's the true heart of a sponsorship that we're looking for in all of our sponsors. And we've got the unique opportunity that we get to be picky about them. And you truly are the part of the cream of the crop when it comes to our sponsorship.
Oh, thank you for saying so.
Because the genuine thing, it's not, hey, you didn't post exactly the words I wanted you to say. It's, hey, how can I help to make it better?
Yeah.
And that true being who you are, the truth of who you are, and how you approach life with programs like this is truly.
I was very fortunate having an upbringing where I had, mentors in my life. I had my father and other people in my life. In this day and age, life dynamics are different. Single parents, they have different opportunities that are maybe challenges. Maybe they're working extra hard, maybe working 2 jobs. They may not have this type of resource. They don't. You look around here. There's a lot of equipment. There's a lot of there's knowledge that others don't possess today. Some of the skill sets are being lost. How do we bring that back? I follow Mike Rowe a lot, and he echoes the kind of same sentiments that I have, and we have to teach the youth how to work with these, not so much with these, and there's a lot to be said for fixing something yourself. There's pride in that. There's joy and satisfaction in doing something that you can say, yeah, I did that. You didn't just write the check. You went and did it, and you did it your way. Everybody does something different, and there's different perspectives on how you do something, but I think there's a lot to be shared here. Our generation, grew up differently. Your background is different than my background, and everybody's family is different. So, I think the group that's here, the youth that's here, want to be here. Okay, I think if you instill the skill set early on, it carries to the rest of their lives. Okay, whether it's Rainbow or the Girl Scouts or Boy Scouts, it's these youth groups. The whole idea is we're molding the future. And if we don't do it ourselves, who's going to do it?
Exactly. And so it's hard to believe how much we mentioned already. It's been 11 years. A lot's changed in 11 years.
Yes.
When you first met us, we introduced to the program. It was a 1,200 square foot pole barn with a cement floor and a bunch of crazy people that, let's just say, weren't as experienced as you and I.
Yeah, it was herding kittens, I think is the word I would use for that.
And it's changed a lot. So here we've been blessed with a
Great facility.
6,700 square foot shop.
Yep.
Well lit, great for filming and such, great for our sponsors, great for the projects that we have going on. You just have been, I've been whining about it. Can you imagine? I've been whining about it for 3.5 years. Hey, I need to do something about my clutch.
It's been a little while.
When are you going to call? And so
Right.
we've called,
Right.
and despite my procrastination, you stepped up. And would you like to share anything about the product on how you're sponsoring us this time and how you're being involved on just the project?
Yeah, I mean, we've been involved with a couple of projects. You know, your car, more recently, your Celine, 06 Celine, and you know, it's got 156,000 miles on it. You know, typical enthusiast type driving, and you know, the clutch is used up. I mean, it's original, it's time for a new one. So you came to us and I made a recommendation for the type of driving you're doing and the product that I think best suits you. And we chose a Kevlar, you know, organic type clutch. It's a direct replacement. It'll be smooth engaging. At the same time, with as many miles on your car, we're going to take a look at the transmission and see what's going on with that second gear, you know, issue that you've got going on. So we'll bring the guys and gals in and show them the inner workings of the transmission in our facility at a later date. And you know, manual shift transmissions are not the mainstream. You know, if you look at cars today, the numbers are dwindling. You know. But, you know, like my daughter, she's 20 years old and wants to drive a stick. So, you know, this summer we're going to take some time and teach her, you know, this generation so we don't lose that skill set, you know. And at the same time, you know, there's Sarge, which, you know, we got involved many years ago, the 66 Fastback that you've had at SEMA, and it's gotten a lot of accolades and magazines. And you know, we put a 6-speed Magnum in that and into that car many years ago, and you know, it's in need of a little service, and we're going to take care of that one as well. You know, so it's teaching the youth about how a clutch works and how they work differently than, you know, you don't just stick it in drive and go.
And I like what you brought up about the big picture of what's the right product to get is, and
Yes.
how you and your team at Modern Driveline, that's kind of one of the specialty things that I've always admired about how Modern Driveline works, is when you call the technical support line. It's not, hey, I read it in a magazine or saw it on a YouTube video that this is what I'm supposed to get. You take the time to discover what the customer actually needs and walk them through so that they're not saying, hey, you sold me a junky clutch that doesn't do what I expected it to do.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of companies are selling product, whether it's, you know, the big box, I'll call box stores without naming names, but, you know, anybody can pull parts from a catalog. It's not what's on sale. You know, hey, we got 100 of these, hey, we got to move them, you know. So the idea really is that we listen, ask questions. What are you doing? What kind of horsepower? What's your expectation? Do you want to be the Fast and Furious type, or hey, this is a Sunday going to get ice cream car?
And my wife wants to drive it too. Okay?
Right, exactly. You know, and that's the compromise that you're always making. You know, when we have conversations with a client on the phone, you know, those are the questions we have to ask. You know, is this a car that you are doing motorsport activities with, or is this a daily commuter? You know, or it's a mix. You know, some people are doing pro touring, some people are open tracking, some are open drag racing. The expectations are all different. So clutches is that fuse, it's that need to get the power to the ground but do it smoothly and reliably. You know, what works for you doesn't work for the next person.